Purnaa. I'm a 15-year-old student. I recently took part in a competition hosted by #skills called the 21-Day Lockdown Story Writing Challenge. My story, titled Storm, made it to the leaderboard. I'm very happy to be a part amongst the top 5 and I'm very excited to present my story. Hope you guys will like it. Storm. The first streak of daylight broke out, carrying a light of luster and radiance. Ava Dior opened the French window of her room and stretched her hands on either side. She didn't know she was smiling as she contemplated Hilliard lovingly. She watched as the sun rose above the majestic cliffs, blending many colors in the horizon, and the darkness departed like a vanquished king giving up his crown. Ava touched her protruding belly amorously. If only her unborn child could see, she would have feasted on this view. She turned away and walked to her study, her eyes fixed to the calendar. Grabbing a pencil, she crossed out yesterday's date. Another day had passed in the absence of Aaron, she got sadly, touching the swelled gold chain that hung across her slender neck. After a particularly exhausting day and a delicious supper cooked by Beth, Ava retired to bed. At the midnight, the telephone rang, its shrill cry piercing the silence. She was almost about to call Beth, but stopped as a sudden thought arose in her mind. She ran to the hall and picked up the receiver. "Hello," she panted and waited in anticipation. "Happy birthday, love," a deep and a resonant voice echoed from the other end. "Aaron," she breathed, invigorated. "You forgot your birthday, isn't it?" He chuckled amusingly. "Yes," Ava confessed. "How are you?" It was sporadic that Aaron called. His profession wouldn't allow him to do so. And so, whenever he called, Ava was determined to ask him everything that happened in his life and update events of her life. "I'm good. How's Ava and my princess?" And before Ava could respond, he continued excitedly. "Has she started to kick? It's been weeks already. Are you eating correctly in time? And listen, I'm just 18 weeks pregnant. Don't make me feel so old already," Ava interrupted crossly. Aaron chuckled, and it was the most melodious chuckle Ava had ever heard. Ava also had to give a grudging smile. Suddenly, Ava felt a strange emotion arising in her chest. She was away from her husband for weeks now, and she felt alone and desolate than ever. Tears streamed down her cheeks. But Ava wouldn't complain. She knew she had to learn to be more robust and courageous. She had to learn to accept the hard life of being a wife of a soldier. Then she asked, trying to appear cheery, trying to conceal the quiver in her voice. "I'm coming home next Sunday, Ava," Aaron said from the other end, quietly. "What?" Ava stammered. "You're coming home." The last word came out as a choked whisper. "Yes, love," he confirmed. The moment was ironic. Seconds ago, Ava's eyes welled with tears of sadness, and now same eyes shed tears of happiness. She didn't attempt to stop them. She hugged the receiver close to her heart and cried loudly. When Aaron heard her sobs, moisture filled his eyes. He felt imbued with guilt. He had forced her to stay alone in this crucial time and had hardly spent any time with her. He barely called her, but she hadn't complained once. "I'm sorry," Aaron pleaded, his voice thick. No, Aaron," Ava instantly defied his convoluted apology. "Nation always comes first, right?" The captains and the lieutenants were stunned to see their major crying. They had never seen a gleam of fear in his eyes, let alone cry. "Right," Aaron whispered, wiping his tears with the back of his sleeve. He gestured for another minute to his senior and continued urgently. "Love, just go open the last drawer of my wardrobe. I have a gift." "Aaron," Ava protested, "you didn't have to." He shushed her and continued hastily. "Stay safe, love. I'll be back soon. I love you." Ava began, but the line got disconnected. Placing the receiver down, she whispered her incomplete sentence, "Love you too." Aaron stared at the telephone for a long time. Wiping a sudden tear, he walked away. Abba did as she was told. She opened the last drawer of Aaron's wardrobe and found a neatly wrapped gift inside. Curious, she began unwrapping the gift carefully and found a thick black book. A note stuck on the book. It read, "Remember, you said you wanted to cherish and never forget the memories we made." She nodded unknowingly and then realized Aaron was not present here. She opened the book and in the first page, written in bold black letters were, "To the love of my life, Abba Dior." She ran her fingers over her name. Abba Dior. From young, Abba had grown up in an orphanage, and every child of the orphanage was given the surname Dior. After her marriage, she wanted to keep her surname as a reminder of her childhood, and Aaron had respected this decision of hers to a great extent. She flipped the next page. Again, written in bold black letters were some lines. With a bolt, Abba realized it was Aaron's marriage vow. The reminiscent sacred event flooded her brain. He had cupped her face and whispered his vow. "Abba Dior, thank you for being the fragrance in my barren life. Thank you for becoming the only flower to bloom in my heart. From this moment, I pledge my heart to your pure heart and my soul to your virtuous soul. I promise to become yours for this life and the rest. I promise to love you till the earth stops spinning. I, Aaron Baxter, take you, Abba Dior, as my wife and promise to be there for you forever." She felt those words with her fingers, but those words were carved in her heart. She turned the next page and her eyes widened. Written in big rounded handwriting were those 7 fastidious words. It wasn't hard for her to recollect that particular memory. She had once asked him to describe what he liked in her, to delineate what he admired in her. His instant reply had been, "You are my Abba Dior, the amazing, valorous, adorable, devout, incredible, and opulently resplendent love of my life." His answer had made her breath hitch in her throat. His describing words had been adjectives from her initials. The love he had for her made her feel like a child who thought the chocolate milk came from a brown cow. The subsequent pages were filled with photos of all the moments they enjoyed together. Abba didn't know when and how had Aaron managed to collect the photographs or gather such a vast collection, but he had made sure to procure a photo of every single memory they made together. One such photo was by the lake. It looked simple, but it held a significance. It had been their first date and Aaron had taken her to a beautiful lakeside. As they watched the sunset together, they also had the opportunity to witness a swoop of cranes fly away. The latter event went with the former so well that the pair of them were blessed to see such a unique sight. They had taken their first photo to treasure this nostalgic moment. That was almost 10 years ago, but Abba remembered it so well as if it were yesterday, and Abba had no clue how Aaron had procured this photo. The further pages consisted of an elaborate and a detailed version of all their firsts. The first confession, the first movie outing, the first hug, the first proposal, the first promise, their first fight, and a lot of indelible memories. Even the exact dialogues exchanged by the pair of them. In fact, their first fight was something about very funny and silly, Abba recollected amusingly. In school, Aaron had insisted that it was the hyoid bone in the skeleton that wasn't connected to any other bone. But Abba had argued back violently, saying that there was no such bone and she knew better than him as she was a biology student. It had slowly developed into a heated argument. Determined to prove him wrong, she googled a report about the hyoid bone, studying it in detail, and to her utter shock, Aaron had been correct. She remembered how embarrassed she had been the next day and the shy apology she gave him. The book was filled with all those reminiscent moments of their divine relationship, an ordinary book with plain sheets brimming with outstanding love. She read and reread and again reread the book, tears falling thickly in the pages, creating huge blotches. His love for her was like a candle, its flame roaring with purity and mysticism, never ceasing to shelter her in his warmth. The next morning, Ava opened the fridge to get milk for her morning coffee. However, her eyes fell on a big box. It had a note affixed to it. Happy birthday once again, love. I know you're too lazy to buy yourself a cake, though I still don't understand why you like pineapple flavored cake. Have a bright day, love. I'll see you both soon. Love, Aaron. P.S. In case you're wondering, only the note is mine. Beth purchased the cake. Ava chuckled and placed the box on the counter. Taking a knife, she cut a piece and ate it. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel that happy when she ate the cake. How would she? The cake in front of the note was like a tiny dewdrop in front of an ocean. The most awaited Sunday finally arrived. Ava was exhilarated and thrilled. This was the moment she had waited for the last few months. Now was the time she could relinquish the curse of being alone and celebrate the blessing of togetherness. Ava sat before the mirror combing her hairs. She wore no makeup or jewelry. Only the swellet and the precious gold chain gifted by Aaron adorned her bare neck. Daddy is coming home, she whispered, touching her bulging belly. Suddenly, a loud gush of wind hit her face, and as an impact, she dropped her comb. She walked to the French window and frowned, astounded by the sudden change in the weather. Austere winds blew and dark clouds crowded the sky. Thunder roared and lightning streaked. Heavy rain began to whip the earth. She tried to close the window, but a rancorous wind hit her again. As an instant, bringing her forearms close to her eyes, covering them, and for a fleeting second, she felt something slide down her neck, and the next second, she heard a clunk sound. Instantly, her hands went to her neck, but to her confounded amazement, she felt nothing. She squinted in the little light available and finally found the chain near the table on the ground. She bent to pick it up, but her protruding stomach wouldn't allow her to do so. She was about to call Beth, but she heard the door open. Adrenaline pumped in her body, diffusing excitement everywhere. Hurrying as fast as she could, she reached the door, calling out joyously, "Aaron! Aaron!" She stopped mid-word and her eyes widened with shock. She stilled with dismay at the sight of so many people. The captains and the lieutenants moved away unwillingly, revealing a coffin. The coffin was draped in the national flag. The body in the casket still clad in the uniform but drenched in blood. The badges and medals on the shoulders and chest gleamed, but the body was inanimate. The coffin couldn't disguise the gunshot on his chest. The blue eyes met hers lifelessly. Aaron Baxter got martyred, protecting the honor of the nation. Ava winced as if she stepped on a carpet of thorns. Her mouth trembled violently. She took large steps backwards, pressing her palm to her mouth, as tears fell uncontrollably. She pinched her skin, trying to convince the fate that it was a joke, but it wasn't. "No, he can't be dead. Aaron, you can't." She shook her head vigorously. He was playing a joke. Everyone was playing a joke. Her fate was playing the biggest joke. He can't be dead. He just can't. But nothing could conceal the fact that a son had sacrificed his life to his mother nation. Screaming a cry of anguish, she dropped to her knees. Crying utter despair, she swooned into darkness, falling limply on the icy road. Though a word wasn't uttered, everyone heard the shattering of heart. Not one, but two. Days passed after Aaron's funeral. Ava was never the same again. A rage wavered in the depth of her eyes. They held tears of torture and torment. Her happiness extinguished, her soul shattered, and her essence crushed. Grief, pain, anger laughed at her. She began to question her mere existence. She stared at the fan for a long time. In a daze, she extracted a towel and stood on a stool. below the fan. She didn't want to live, she had no reason to live. And suddenly the towel dropped from her hands and she stepped up. Her daughter in her stomach had kicked for the first time and she found a reason to live. A nurse rushed to Ava, who was sitting in a corner gazing out of the window. "Your name, Mom?" she asked loudly to a still Ava, but Ava didn't answer. She didn't even turn to look at the nurse. "Ma'am," the nurse waved at Ava's face. "Excuse me." Ava asked her. The voice came out from Ava's mouth, quiet yet firm. The nurse checked the list of patients and nodded, telling her the time of the appointment. But Ava's eyes were focused on the son, who was pursuing his western course. Aaron had once said, "Our love is like a sunset. The fiery red sun which can never perish stands for our never-perishing love. The depth of the sky is the amount of love we possess for each other, and the vibrant hues of colors stands for the distant and unmistakable moments we enjoyed in this beautiful relationship." The love they possessed for each other was unimaginable and incredible, and in a fraction of a second, he was taken away from her forever. This was my story. I hope you liked it. I would like to thank #skills for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to put the time in the lockdown into a productive use. Thank you.